What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if it's your first time here. You know, when us preppers think about SSTF, and we think about the reasons that we prep, the things that keep us up at night, we usually envision this total, complete collapse. This Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome type situation, you know, where there is no electricity, where there is no running water from the tap, when there is no 911, no hospitals, no police, no government. Grocery stores are empty and not being stocked. Everyone is on their own. A total, complete collapse. But how hard would that be to actually survive such a situation? And could you actually survive that situation? How many people in the United States would survive for a year in a total, complete collapse? This article here that was published in 2019 in the Washington Examiner, new EMP warnings. U.S. will cease to exist. 90% of the population will die. With ease and using a primitive nuclear weapon, a new axis of aggressive nations could black out the Western world, dismantle all electricity and electronics and water and food supply, and lead to millions of deaths in America. 9 of 10 Americans are dead from starvation, disease, and social collapse. The United States of America ceases to exist, warns the report declassified by a recently decommissioned U.S. Commission to assess the threat to the United States from an electromagnetic pulse or EMP attack. So the article assesses and estimates that 90% of the population in the U.S. would die within the first year after such a complete grid down type situation. And, you know, I have to agree with that. It might be actually more than that, because people are completely unprepared, and within a couple of weeks, people would be resorting to extreme violence, robbery, and everything. The nightmare scenario that we have talked about here on this channel before. Now, how could you survive such a situation? What would increase your likelihood of survival? You know, if you have a cabin stocked full, hidden deep in the forest, deep in the mountains, you might be able to pull it off. The hard part would be keeping yourself hidden. If you're found out, someone could just pop and you would be gone. They take your supplies. Or if they thought you had superior firepower and they might be endangering themselves, they could go back and tell more people and bring more people to that location and take what you have. So it's theoretically possible to go off in the woods if you have a cabin for protection from the elements and you have a stockpile of food and gear ready to go. It's possible that you could survive that way long term. Most people who try that route, in my opinion, within the first year wouldn't make it, because they would be found, they would be discovered, they would be taken out, and they would be robbed, unfortunately. But it is theoretically possible if you plan for it and you take extreme precautions and you stay hidden very, very well. It is possible. And guys, the opposite of that hidden retreat off in the forest somewhere where you and your family go to hide out and wait to collapse out is the larger prepper group. There's lots of prepping groups, and we hear a lot about it on YouTube. People are banding together to prepare. And I think that it does give you more of a chance of actually surviving, because you have more people, you have more resources, you have more skills people can bring into the group to hopefully survive. You can pull your resources to buy a larger area of land to work. However, in the long term, if that prepping group is known, and they will be known because it's more difficult to keep a larger group hidden, so it will be known that there's this group in this certain location or a fixed location, and people's going to start talking, people's going to get desperate, they're going to say, this people over here, they're stockpiled, they're well armed, there's 45 people in this group, 75 people in this group. They're armed, they're stockpiled, seem to be doing very well. So we can get together, we can gather all these masses of people up on the outskirts of that prepping group and attack. And you know, they may come with 7,000 people, 5,000, 10,000 people they can amass together to come at your prepping group, and very easily decimate, you know, 50, 75, or 100 preppers who are manning that prepping location. And not only that, you know, even a smaller group that could sit back in the outskirts with, you know, long-range rifles and take out that group very easily. Actually, hide in the bushes, hide in the mountains, take out the group one by one, come in, take what they have. So, it could happen. That group could make it. However, it's not likely, in my opinion, in a long-term situation. However, like I said, they have a better chance of surviving long-term, I think, in a total, complete collapse type situation than the family that is in the suburbs that's, that's a stockpile in their closet, and they've stockpiled food, and they have some chickens in the backyard. They're probably not going to make it during a long-term type, complete grid-down type situation. And the prepping group have a better chance of actually making it, but it's still not a guarantee. And the big danger with those prepping groups is that they will become a target. If you have say 40 acres and you're managing that 40 acres, you are working together as a prepping community, you're gardening, you're preserving your food, you're pulling guard duty, you are helping raise the animals, you're taking care of each other in that small group. Like I said, you're going to become a target because people are going to know that you're there, word's going to get out, definitely going to get out, and you're going to become a very target-rich environment because people are going to be on the outskirts, looking in, spying with the binoculars, see how many people's in that group. They're going to hide, they're going to snipe away, pow, at your group. They're going to take out the leaders first, more than likely they can tell who the leaders are. And most groups will be completely decimated in short order and overran, supplies taken, and it will be a failed experiment, unfortunately. In my opinion, the best situation, most likely to be able to survive, is to be in a small community, in a small town. And this was taunted by Kurt Saxon, by Mel Tappan, and still yet to this day, they are completely correct. That's the best situation to be in, is to be in a small town, a small rural farming community, preferably, and the town actually pull together and work together because of the ties they already have in that town, work together to survive, to grow their own food, to supply their own energy, to supply their own resources and medical, and to barter with other towns that pull us together. That's the best case scenario. Whether or not it happens that way, it will depend on where you are. It will depend on the people in your community. But if you have, a small town, you could have 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people in that small town that could band together to work together to protect that area, to grow together, to farm together, to become self-reliant together, to barter with other towns. That's the best possible situation to be in, and I think the scenario of that small town pulling together to survive would have the best chance of actually pulling through long term and building something, building something up on the back end, something that resembles normalcy, and hopefully get back to normal civilization in a few years. That town pulls together and starts bartering and things with other towns. However, with all that said, how likely is it to have, a total, complete collapse over the entirety of the United States? It could possibly happen. A massive EMP attack, nuclear war could definitely cause it to happen. A real pandemic that killed 90% of the people who catch that virus could definitely cause it to happen. So it is very possible. However, I don't think it's something we should worry about as much as we actually do in the prepping community. We should worry more about economic downturns and over the oppressive, tyrannical government and things like that, because that's happening right now. We see that happening. However, that total collapse, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome type situation could happen, but in my opinion, it's not as likely as most preppers seem to think that it is. And I think a lot of preppers, deep down, some anyway, maybe not a lot, but some, want it to happen because they want to they see themselves as being the ultimate survivor. They watch television shows about collapsed society, they watch movies, and they see themselves as being the hero. And in reality, it's most likely not going to be that way. Most likely, you'll be one of the 9 out of 10 who will perish in this type of situation. But guys, before I close this video, if you haven't subscribed to my free email newsletter, go in the description box below and click on the link or in the first pinned comment and go subscribe to that. It's totally free. The Friday email is totally free. I send out an email with 10 things I think are worth sharing every week, and it can include news articles, personal things going on in my life, and different things in that newsletter. Again, 100% totally free. I have about 8,000 free email subscribers right now, so go join that list. If you don't like it, you can always unsubscribe. If you thought the video was helpful, give it a big thumbs up. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you for watching. The Creekmore out here, and I'll see you all in the next video, hopefully.